Okay, so in today's computing lesson, we are going to be looking at spreadsheets. So, specifically, how we can use them to interpret different sets of information and sort of looking at how we can use them in everyday life. So, what is a spreadsheet, first of all? A spreadsheet is a digital program that allows people to organize information known as data when it's in a spreadsheet. They can be used to organize a lot of different types of data into charts and graphs. So, you can see we've got a table of data or information over here, and we've actually got some images of how that can be organized into graphs, which we will look at another time. So if we have a little look at the different parts of a spreadsheet, it's important to know what each part is called and how we can read them and what the different parts are actually telling us. So the first thing we're going to look at is the titles. These let you know the information that we are looking at. If we don't have the titles, then the data wouldn't make a lot of sense. So we've got, in this example, the name of pupils and the number of days that they are absent from school. If these titles weren't there, then these names and these numbers wouldn't mean an awful lot to us. So it's important that we do have a title at the top of every column or row just to let us know what we're actually referring to in terms of the data. We then have a record. So each row in a spreadsheet is known as a record. So in this example, we can see that Emma had 6 days off school. So every single row is a separate record. So we can have a look at Archie. We could look across and we can see that he had 12 days off school. The final section is the field. So on spreadsheets, we've got loads and loads of boxes, which are known as cells, but then we'll have boxes or cells with different bits of information in each one. So each individual cell on this spreadsheet is known as a field. So for example, we've got a field highlighted here, which shows as 38. But if we look at the record, which is the row, it shows that the total number of days that pupils were absent from school was 38. So we have a look at another spreadsheet. This one's a little bit more complicated because we've got some extra columns there. Now, we can remember each row is a record. So what the person in this spreadsheet has done is they kept a record of each toy, their name, the type of creature they are, their location, so where they are found, and the colour of them. So it's a good way for them to organise their toys. So in this record, for example, we can see that Bert is a panda. He's located on the toy shelf and he's black and white in colour. So, for example, if we wanted to know where the panda was kept, we could look for where the panda is. We know his name's Bert, but that's not what we need to know. So we carry on going across and it tells us that he is kept on the toy shelf. Likewise, if we wanted to know what colour Mary was, we'd go along and we'd find out, looking at the record, that she is brown. Let's have another look at an even more complicated spreadsheet. So spreadsheets are really good for helping us make decisions on different issues once we know how to interpret and read the data. So in this example, we can see if a book is available at either Colchester Library or Chelmsford Library. And we can also see when books are due to be coming back to the library, and we can see which ones will have the books back first. So if we have a little look at each record, so if we use Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, say I wanted to borrow that from the library, I would need to know where it is available. We've also got the author there, just in case we wanted to know who the author was as well. So I know that Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was written by J.K. Rowling. It's available at Colchester Library because it says yes there. This column where it says NA, that means not applicable, it doesn't matter to this column in this case because it's available, so it doesn't need to be returned. But then if we look at Chelmsford Library, no, it's not available, but it will be returned on the 6th of March 2021. So say if you didn't want to travel to Colchester Library and you're prepared to wait for it to come into Chelmsford Library, you would have to wait until the 6th of March 2021 before you can go and get it. But if you wanted it sooner, you know that it's available at Colchester Library. So if we were to look at Tom Sawyer, for example, if we wanted to see if it was available to borrow from Colchester Library, we look for the title, go across, and yes, it is available at Colchester Library. Which library gets Charlie and the Chocolate Factory back first is a tricky one because we're having to look at the dates in which it's returned. So if we look at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it isn't currently available at either library. So we can look at the dates to decide which one we want to go and get the book from first, as it will come in sooner. So it'll come into Colchester Library the 23rd of March 2021, but it will come into Chelmsford Library on the 11th of March 2021. So if you wanted the book sooner, you know you could wait until the 11th of March to go and get it from Chelmsford Library.